Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today we are watching Sierra 117 Accurate in his SAO. He is on the map Trap in a 3-point domination game mode, and well, it's obviously a tier 10 battle. Our matchmaker, well, he failed a little bit with the battleships, I guess. So their team has 2 Yamatos and the enemies has 2 Iowas. Yeah, so the enemies do have better cruisers. There is that. There's only one enemy destroyer, there are no carriers in this game, so I guess I would be pretty happy if I'm in a battleship in this matchup. But you know, cruisers can do a lot of damage, so let's see how this turns out. Now the SAO is a nice ship from what I've heard. I was able to play her a little bit at Gamescom last year, but I don't have one yet myself. She has torpedoes with only an 8-kilometer range, but are pretty fast, and she has quite good guns. She can also repair, so there is that. Now Sierra is using a catapult fighter here and defensive AA fire, which are not going to be very helpful in this matchup because there are no carriers. But, you know. So, in the beginning of the match he is going here towards A. It would seem that the majority of the team goes towards C and the lone destroyer is capturing B. Pretty happy with a destroyer here inside B, especially since he isn't contested, and having some scouting information and someone taking this center point. That's pretty nice. You don't want to drive a big ship in here in the beginning because you are vulnerable to crossfire. And I'm guessing they can't do much here at A unless the enemy isn't sending it here either. But we shall see. Sierra is in a position to, I guess, shoot torpedoes if something pops up here, and isn't driving into this point because he's already expecting that he will have to run away. Just isn't enough support here to really push into this point. Also, you can see here with the newest version of World of Warships we have some minimap changes. There is actually a settings button where you can enable different things if you want. So you can see the detectability range and your main battery firing range and stuff like that, which is cool. You could have such things before with mods, but I like to have it in the main game because I don't think you should force people to use mods just to get some additional information. Now there is an Iowa driving here, showing his broadside, which doesn't really matter, I guess, because there's a battleship here. So he's probably not under fire from anything where he is getting penetrated. And yeah, Sierra didn't push into the cap. He was prepared for the eventuality of a huge enemy force arriving here from the north, and now he is wisely just retreating. There is no reason to take A at this point. They control C, they control B, and if you control the majority of the points you will win over time if you just stay alive, so retreating here is a good option. Fortunately they've already lost a destroyer, but it's still looking pretty good for them right now. Since they have such a major force at sea, they can probably kill any opposition there easily, especially since this ship seems to just push instead of retreat, which could give them an advantage. So hopefully the force here will clean up C and then just drive towards B. Now I guess the bad news is it seems someone started capturing B and there is not much in a position to defend. So maybe this battleship can make something happen, and let's hope the force at sea will deal with those enemies pretty fast and then react. Now meanwhile Sierra is just shooting enemies and slowly retreating. So far he hasn't taken much hits, but he started some fires, done some damage. And yeah, right now he is kind of presenting his broadside to those ships, but he doesn't really have much room to maneuver. There is a zone wall here stopping his retreat. He doesn't really want to push here straight north. Can't really push into A or B currently. So what looked pretty good a few moments ago doesn't look so great now. Because they lost B, and the enemies are already kind of in a position between the 2 points they control. So it won't be easy to retake B. They really need the massive force here in the north to push here downward. And well, Sierra has the support of 2 battleships here, but they are outnumbered, and it's not easy to meet up with the force here in the north. If they just drive straight there, they'll get shot, probably sink before they get anywhere near their allies. And the only way to retreat is further away from the objective zones, which is a bit bad. But I mean, they are still in a position to fire at those ships, and as soon as reinforcements arrive, they can just turn around and push back in. And they still have lead point-wise, so the early capture of the 2 points still... Yeah, okay, they lost another ship. That's not looking so great. Now, the good news is, it seems like the friendly team at C agrees that they should push towards B, and you can see here a massive force moving down. Fortunately, there is a destroyer here to spot and intercept this fleet, and the battleships are in the front. If the friendly destroyer were somewhere in the front, it would probably be a bit better. So, let's hope they can deal with the destroyer without hitting too many torpedoes. And there you go, enemy destroyer is dealt with. Now the enemies don't have a destroyer left, so the battleships should have an easier time just pushing. And Sierra is still doing a pretty decent job at keeping himself alive and never stops firing at the enemies. He's already scored 72 hits and started 5 fires. I think he might have had some opportunities here to maybe shoot some cruisers in the broadside with armor piercing, but so far he's sticking to high explosive, and fire can do a lot of damage. Especially if they have used their repair ability and can get rid of the fire, and maybe you start more than one, then you can really burn somebody down. And I'm really surprised that there aren't more people firing at Sierra here. But it's good for him. If you leave a cruiser alone, they can do a lot of damage. They have a very high damage per minute usually, and yeah, together with the fires they can just really punish enemies for ignoring them. And as you can see, he's not really that well angled, but this Iowa's guns are not pointing in his direction, so if an enemy isn't pointing his guns in your direction, you don't have to fear him shooting you. And battleships, very slow gun traverse. If you keep watching what the enemy's guns do, you can safely like show your broadside and use all your guns. And you know, it's starting to look a lot better. They have, I think, dealt with anyone here in the north. The friendly team has arrived here at B. There are battleships more or less in the front together with the destroyer. And Sierra just got himself Arsonist and Witherer. And there is still a lot of time left. Already 114 hits and 10 fires started. So if the friendly team now manages to capture B, and if this push here is successful, it should be looking pretty good. And yes, Sierra also has like turned his ship around and is supporting this push here in the middle, I guess. Now this force only has to deal with those two cruisers, and then they should be able to capture B in peace. The enemies here that are driving down here, I'm not exactly sure what their plan is. They should be pushing here towards B and intercepting this force. But it's actually looking pretty good currently. And well, they've lost their friendly destroyer, unfortunately, but those battleships seems to be able to capture this point. And well, after they've got this point, all they have to do is hold it, I guess. Now the friendly team is here a bit separated, but they are all in a position to shoot the same enemies around here, I guess, so that looks good. Even the two ships here in the north are on their way down south to rejoin the team. And I don't know, I think someone is complaining about his Yamato in the chat. I don't have one, but from all I've heard it's a great ship, so not sure what his issue was. Maybe he got hit by a lot of torpedoes or something. And yeah, Sierra here is spreading around the love, setting people on fire. What you can basically do in a cruiser is you shoot like a battleship until you start a fire. Once you see they use the repair, you try to start a fire again, and then you can switch targets and hopefully do the same thing to another ship. So keep as many fires as possible burning. Now, somehow the friendly team managed to lose almost all the ships here in the north and inside B, and suddenly it's only 3 friendlies left. I've no idea what apocalypse happened here in the north, but suddenly this game looks a lot worse than it did. On the bright side, Sierra managed to achieve high caliber. And this North Carolina is very soon. Oh, there is the second arsonist. I'm not sure, I think this Baltimore might be backwards. And I'm guessing he switched towards the torpedoes to check which way the Baltimore is moving. Something that you can do, because the torpedo indicator will be in front of the ship if the ship moves forward, obviously in the back on the ship moves backward. So if you don't know if a ship is moving forward or not, you can use the torpedoes if you have torpedoes. Check its movement. On the bright side, this Ultimo is at very low health. His Torpeds is also not that healthy, and Sierra is still in a decent position, HP wise. Also, they still control point B and point C. So if they can hold those 2 points and maybe kill 1 or 2 enemies and stay alive, they still have a chance of winning. Now, there goes the enemy, and you can see they are almost equal. They will accumulate points faster because they control 2 points. So as long as they can stay alive and keep those 2, they will still win. And yeah, that's Yamato here in the point B, and the Yamato is also still reasonably healthy. So we got Yamato, Asao, and Hindenburg left. So 3 tier 10 ships. And well, let's take a look at the Hindenburg is also reasonably healthy. Now there is an Ioba pushing towards the Yamato. The Yamato just received a hit. And there is also a cruiser kind of shooting Yamato is taking a lot of damage. Usually a Yamato should be able to deal with an Ioba, but well, that didn't work out. So that's bad news. But they are currently losing the point B, and while they are able to interrupt this battleship, reset him from capping, we saw a cruiser here in the north, so there is also a cruiser here in B. And they cannot interrupt the cruiser from capping. Now, they might be able to kill his Iowa. If they can kill the Iowa... yeah, well, it's getting too close point-wise. But remember, if you kill an enemy ship, they lose points, you gain points. So if they could kill the Iowa and prevent that cap, but they can't prevent the cap, maybe they can still take out the Iowa. But yeah, the Iowa is burning, but he is retreating behind this island in cover. So no such luck. The only target left for Sierra here is the Torpedes, and the Torpedes is not spotted any longer. So the enemy has almost won by points. Unfortunately, this is a defeat. Now let's take a look at the results. Sierra managed to get 1862 base experience in a loss. It was certainly very well played from him, and I don't know, I generally thought their team was making some reasonable decisions, and I'm not exactly sure what happened to the massive push in the middle. They had a lot of ships there and suddenly they all sunk or something. So not sure what exactly happened, but it happens sometimes. Now, Sierra managed to only kill 3 ships, but he did 260,000 damage. He got high caliber, 2 times Arsonist and Widerer, 20 fire started and 237 hits with his main battery guns. Well, that's certainly a nice amount of damage, and it's a lot of fires. Now we can also see here the new detailed report. He was only using high explosive. Now I usually try to use some armor piercing in my cruisers and try to get some citadels and other cruisers, but I cannot argue with his results. And he certainly showed the power of fires. Now if you can see here under other, that's a lot of damage by fire. So yeah, he really burned the enemy team, and it was certainly very well played by him. Now I hope you liked watching this game. I certainly did. And I will see you guys next time.